There is a pervasive, damaging myth that circulates in our society, one that keeps millions of hardworking people poor, stressed, and feeling like failures. It is the stubborn belief that you need a high income to build wealth. We look at rich people, at their big houses and luxury cars, and we assume their secret is simply that they earn enormous paychecks, far beyond what we could ever dream of. If you are over 40 and living on a low salary, perhaps earning $30,000, $40,000, or even $50,000 a year in a high-cost world, this myth is paralyzing. You look at your paycheck after taxes, you look at the rising cost of rent, food, and gas, and you feel defeated before you even begin. You think, how can I possibly save anything when I can barely pay my basic bills? Saving is a luxury for the rich. I'm just trying to survive. And so, another year goes by. You work hard, you put in the hours, you get paid, and then, almost like magic, the money disappears. It evaporates into rent, utilities, car payments, groceries, and 100 small, forgettable purchases. You end the year exactly where you started, or perhaps a little further behind, with nothing to show for your labor but stress, exhaustion, and maybe a little more debt on your credit cards. But as we stand on the verge of 2026, I want to challenge that myth to its core. I want to prove to you that your salary is not your destiny. I want to show you that building financial security and peace of mind is not primarily about how much money you make. It is infinitely more about how much money you keep. To do this, we are going to turn to an unlikely teacher for someone on a tight budget, Warren Buffett. Now I know what you're thinking. It sounds ridiculous. Warren Buffett is one of the richest men in the history of the world. He's worth over $100 billion. What could he possibly teach me about living on $40,000 a year? He probably spends more than my annual salary on lunch. The answer is everything. We don't study Buffett because he is rich today. We study him because of how he got rich. He didn't inherit a massive fortune. He didn't win the lottery. He didn't invent a breakthrough technology like the iPhone or the internet. He built his empire slowly, methodically, dollar by dollar, through discipline, infinite patience, and a radical philosophy of frugality that he applies to this very day, long after he needed to. Buffett's genius is not just in making money, it is in not losing it. He understands the profound, fundamental difference between price and value. He knows that a dollar wasted today on something foolish is not just a dollar lost. It is a seed of future wealth that will never be planted, never grow, and never compound. For those of us over 40 who are earning a low salary, Buffett's habits are not just interesting anecdotes about an eccentric billionaire. They are a survival guide. We don't have the luxury of waste. We don't have the high income to cover up our financial mistakes. We don't have the margin for error that high earners have. Every single dollar that comes into our hands is precious. It represents hours of our lives that we traded for it. We must learn to treat it with the same respect and strategic thinking that Buffett does. In this deep dive video, we are going to decode Buffett's philosophy of frugality and translate it into a concrete, actionable plan for you in 2026. We are going to move far beyond the generic, condescending advice of stop buying lattes and avocado toast. We are going to dig into the fundamental mindset shifts and practical, often overlooked habits that can help you find hundreds of dollars a month hidden right inside your current budget, no matter how tight it seems right now. This is not about living a life of misery and deprivation. It's not about refusing to ever spend money or enjoy life. True frugality, as practiced by the wealthy and the wise, is about efficiency. It's about getting maximum value out of your life and stopping the mindless, passive bleeding of money on things that do not matter to you, so that you have money available for the things that truly do. Let's begin by addressing the psychological root of the problem for many on a low income: the scarcity mindset versus the abundance of value. When you live paycheck to paycheck for years, your brain actually changes. Scientists call this the scarcity mindset. Your brain becomes hyper-focused on immediate survival. It constantly scans for threats: the late notice, the empty fridge, the low gas tank. This constant state of low-level panic consumes massive amounts of mental energy. It reduces your bandwidth, making it harder to plan for the future, harder to resist impulses, and harder to make rational long-term decisions. This is why, paradoxically, poor people often make bad financial decisions, like buying expensive prepared food instead of cooking, or taking out high-interest payday loans. It's not because they are stupid. It's because their brains are overloaded with the immediate crisis of survival. They are buying temporary relief from stress. Warren Buffett operates from the exact opposite end of the spectrum. Even when he wasn't wildly rich, he operated from a place of rational calm. His frugality is not born of fear. It is born of logic. It is a tool to reduce stress, not create it. By adopting Buffett's frugal habits, you are not just saving money. You are buying back your mental bandwidth. You are creating a buffer that allows your brain to step out of survival mode and into planning mode. You are building a wall between yourself and the chaos of poverty. This leads us to the first practical pillar, the mindset of a daily value investor. Warren Buffett made his fortune by being a value investor in the stock market. He doesn't buy what's popular. He buys companies when their stock price is significantly lower than their actual intrinsic long-term value. He loves a bargain. He famously said, "Whether we're talking about socks or stocks, I like buying quality merchandise when it is marked down." You need to apply this exact same mentality to your daily life. Every single time you open your wallet or swipe your card, you are making an investment decision. You are trading your hard-earned cash, your life energy, for a product or a service. The critical question you must ask is not, "Can I make the payment?" but, "Am I getting good value for my life?" Most people on low salaries are, unfortunately, terrible value investors. They are caught in the trap of being penny wise and pound foolish. Let's look at how this plays out in real life, starting with the grocery store. This is one of the biggest budget leaks for families. The average person walks into a supermarket without a plan, hungry and tired after work. They are bombarded by marketing designed to make them impulse buy. They grab expensive prepackaged meals, name-brand snacks, and sugary drinks because it feels easy in the moment. They are paying a massive premium for convenience. A Buffett-style value investor approaches food differently. They know that unprocessed foods, rice, beans, potatoes, seasonal vegetables, eggs, whole chickens, provide exponentially more nutritional value per dollar than processed foods. They plan their meals around what is on sale. They use coupons strategically, not just because they have them. They cook in batches on the weekend to save time during the week. They understand that spending $50 on ingredients to make 5 healthy dinners for the family is vastly better value than spending $50 on one unhealthy takeout meal that is gone in 20 minutes. It's not about depriving yourself of good food. It's about getting the most food value for your limited dollars. Let's apply this to clothing. The poverty trap in fashion is buying cheap, low-quality, fast fashion items because the upfront cost is low. You buy a pair of $20 shoes that look okay, but they fall apart in 4 months, forcing you to buy another pair. Over 2 years, you might spend $120 on 6 pairs of terrible shoes that hurt your feet. The value investor saves up and buys 1 pair of high-quality, classic $100 shoes that, with care, will last for 5 years. The upfront cost is higher, but the long-term value is immensely greater. They buy clothes out of season, winter coats in April, swimsuits in September, when they are marked down by 70%. They don't care about having the latest trend. They care about quality, durability, and price. Now, let's talk about the biggest value trap of all for low-income earners: cars. In America, a car is often a necessity to get to work, but it has morphed into a massive status symbol that keeps people poor. Millions of people earning $40,000 a year are driving trucks or SUVs that cost $50,000. They are trapped in 7-year loans with $700 monthly payments, plus high insurance costs. They are putting a huge percentage of their income into a depreciating asset that is losing value every single day, just to look successful to other drivers. Buffett, a billionaire, drives his cars for years. He buys them slightly used, perhaps a year or 2 old, because he knows that a brand new car loses a massive chunk of its value the second it drives off the dealer's lot. He lets someone else take that depreciation hit. He doesn't care if his neighbor has a newer, flashier car. He cares about the utility of getting from point A to point B reliably for the lowest possible cost per mile. If you are struggling on a low salary, the single most powerful, life-changing thing you can do in 2026 is to right-size your transportation. Get rid of the lease. Get rid of the high monthly payment that is suffocating you. Sell the car that is too expensive for you. Buy a reliable, used, fuel-efficient car for cash if you possibly can, or with the smallest, shortest loan possible. The freedom of having an extra $400, $500, or even $700 a month in your pocket is worth infinitely more than the brief ego boost of driving a shiny new car that you don't truly own. That money is your ticket out of debt, your emergency fund, your future. The next habit we need to deeply adopt is what I call the art of delayed gratification. We live in an instant gratification culture. We want it now. The internet, Amazon Prime, and easy credit allow us to have almost anything delivered to our door tomorrow, even if we can't afford it today. This impulse-driven consumption is the single greatest destroyer of wealth for low-income earners. It bypasses the rational part of our brain and taps directly into our desire for a quick dopamine hit. Buffett is a master of patience. He is willing to wait decades for an investment thesis to play out. He doesn't need the quick win. He understands that good things take time. When you feel the urge to buy something non-essential, a new jacket you saw an ad for, the latest electronic gadget, a piece of furniture to fill a space, you must implement a mandatory waiting period. You must insert friction between the impulse and the action. For smaller items under $100, institute a mandatory 48-hour waiting period. For larger items over $100, institute a mandatory 30-day rule. Write the item down on a list on your phone or a piece of paper. Put today's date next to it, and then force yourself to walk away. Close the browser tab. Leave the store. Do not buy it. During that waiting period, two magical things will happen. First, the initial emotional intensity of the desire will fade. The dopamine rush will wear off, and your rational brain will kick back in. You will likely realize that you don't actually need the item or even want it that badly. You'll forget about it in a week. Second, it gives you time to research alternatives. Can you find it cheaper used on Facebook Marketplace or eBay? Can you borrow it from a friend or neighbor for the one time you need it? Do you already own something that does the same job? If, after 30 days, you still genuinely need the item, you still want it, and most importantly, you have the cash saved to pay for it without going into debt, then buy it. You have made a conscious, rational, value-based decision. But more often than not, you will find that the desire has passed, and you have saved that money without feeling deprived. You have won a victory over impulse. The third habit is one of Buffett's most famous and most misunderstood: the indifference to brand names. Warren Buffett does not wear designer Italian suits. He does not collect luxury Swiss watches. He does not drive a Ferrari. As we mentioned, he takes his breakfast at McDonald's. He drinks Coca-Cola, not expensive artisanal beverages. He is completely, utterly immune to the pressure of keeping up with the Joneses. He understands a fundamental truth of marketing. For most consumer products, the brand name is just a tax on your insecurity. You are paying extra money, sometimes double or triple the price, not for better quality, but for a logo, for marketing hype, and for the false feeling of status that the brand promises to give you. If you are on a low salary, you cannot afford to pay the brand tax. It is a luxury tax for people who have money to burn, or for fools who want to look like they do. In 2026, you must become a generic brand warrior. Go through your pantry and your medicine cabinet right now. Are you buying name brand cereal, name brand pain relievers, name brand cleaning supplies? Compare the ingredients label of the name brand ibuprofen with the store brand. They are identical. The chemical compound is exactly the same. The only difference is that one company spends millions on TV commercials and the other doesn't. Switch them all to the store brand. You will save 30% to 50% instantly without sacrificing any quality or effectiveness. Stop buying clothes because of the label sewn inside them. Buy them because they fit well, they are made of durable fabric, and they are appropriate for your life and work. Nobody whose opinion actually matters cares what brand of jeans you are wearing. They really don't. And even if they do judge you, why on earth are you spending your precious limited resources to impress shallow people who judge you by your clothes? That is a losing game. This brings us to a crucial, often mocked area of savings, but one that Buffett takes very seriously: the micro habits of waste reduction. You've heard the trite advice to stop buying lattes to get rich. And yes, $5 a day adds up to over $1,800 a year, which is significant. But let's look closer at Buffett's daily habits to understand the principle, not just the specific example. For decades, Buffett has stopped at McDonald's for breakfast on his way to the office. But here's the key detail that reveals his mindset. He doesn't just order whatever he feels like. He has a system based on how the stock market is doing. If the market is down, he feels less prosperous, so he buys the cheaper 2-sausage patty option for about $2.61. If the market is up, he feels flush and might splurge on the bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit for a whopping $3.17. Think about that deeply. A man worth over $100 billion counts pennies on his breakfast sandwich. Why? It's not because he's cheap or miserly. It's because he profoundly respects the power of money to compound over time. He knows that 50 cents wasted today on something he doesn't really care about isn't just 50 cents. If invested at an average market return, that 50 cents could grow into $10 over 20 years, or $50 over 40 years. He sees the future potential of every coin. You need to develop the same hypersensitivity to small, recurring wastes in your life. These tiny leaks sink great ships. It's the $15 a month for a streaming service you signed up for to watch one show 6 months ago and haven't watched since. Cancel it today. It's the $12 a month in bank maintenance fees you pay because you don't have the right minimum balance. Call your bank and switch to a no-fee account, or find a credit union that doesn't charge these predatory fees. It's the $20 a week you spend on vending machine snacks, soda, or convenience store energy drinks at work because you didn't plan ahead. Pack your snacks. Buy a reusable water bottle and fill it from the tap. Make your coffee at home in a thermos. It's the fresh produce you throw away at the end of every week because you bought too much with good intentions but didn't have a plan to cook it before it rotted. That is literally throwing money into the garbage. Plan your meals. Buy only what you need and eat leftovers. These small leaks seem insignificant on their own. What's $5 here or $10 there? But together, across a whole month, they can easily amount to $150, $200, or even $300. For someone on a low salary, that is a massive amount of money. That is your emergency fund, your debt repayment, your retirement fund leaking out in invisible drips and drabs. Now let's talk about the biggest expense for most people, and the hardest one to tackle: housing. Buffett still lives in the house he bought in 1958 for $31,500. He is one of the richest men on earth. He could afford any mansion, any penthouse, any private island. But he is content where he is. It serves his needs. He famously said, "A house can be a wonderful asset for many people, but it is not a way to get rich." Too many people over 40, especially those on lower incomes, are house poor. They live in houses or apartments that are too big for their actual needs and far too expensive for their incomes. They are stretched so thin by their mortgage or rent payment that they have absolutely nothing left over to save or enjoy life. They are working just to pay for the roof over their heads. If you are serious about changing your financial life in 2026 on a low salary, you have to put housing on the table. You have to be willing to make uncomfortable choices. Are you an empty nester whose kids have moved out, but you are still living in and heating a 4-bedroom house full of empty rooms? It's time to downsize to a smaller, cheaper place that is easier to maintain. Are you renting an expensive apartment in a trendy area because you like the status? Consider moving a few miles out to a cheaper, safe neighborhood, or to a smaller unit in an older building. The savings could change your life. Could you get a roommate? I know, it's not ideal at 45 or 50. You want your privacy. But if getting a roommate for 2 years cuts your housing cost in half, allowing you to pay off all your consumer debt and build a massive emergency fund, isn't that temporary sacrifice worth the long-term freedom? Buffett values utility over status. Does your housing serve your actual needs for shelter and safety, or does it serve your ego and your desire to impress others? If it's the latter, it is keeping you poor. There is another crucial aspect of frugality that is rarely discussed, but is vital for those over 40. The power of saying no to others. By the time we reach midlife, we often have many financial obligations to others. We have aging parents who need help. We have adult children who are struggling and ask for loans. We have friends who expect us to participate in expensive activities like group dinners, trips, or weddings. This is where financial boundaries become essential. You cannot save money if you are constantly acting as the financial savior for everyone around you while your own ship is sinking. Buffett is incredibly generous with his philanthropy, but he is notoriously strict about personal loans and financial entanglements with friends and family. He knows that mixing money and relationships is a recipe for disaster. If you are on a low salary, you do not have the capacity to bail other people out. It is not selfish to put on your own oxygen mask first before assisting others. In fact, it is the only responsible thing to do. If you don't secure your own financial future, you will eventually become a burden on the very people you are trying to help today. In 2026, you must learn the power of a gentle but firm no. No, I cannot lend you $500 right now. It's not in my budget. No, I cannot come to that expensive destination wedding. I am prioritizing paying off my debt this year. No, let's not go to that expensive restaurant. Let's have a potluck dinner at my house instead. True friends and loving family will understand. Those who get angry or try to guilt trip you are likely using you financially, and you need to set those boundaries for your own survival. Finally, we must address the ultimate Buffett habit that makes all of this work. Without this, all the penny pinching in the world won't help you build wealth. The habit of paying yourself first. This is the cornerstone of building wealth on any income, but it is critical on a low income. Most people do this completely backward. They get their paycheck, and they immediately pay everyone else first. They pay the landlord, the utility company, the grocery store, the gas station, the credit card company, the streaming services. And then, at the end of the month, they look at what is left over, which is usually nothing or next to nothing. And they think, maybe next month I'll be able to save something. This approach guarantees failure. It is a law of human nature, similar to Parkinson's law, that expenses will always expand to absorb the total income available unless you actively prevent it. If you make $2,000 a month and it's all sitting in your checking account, your brain will find a way to spend $2,000 a month. Buffett's advice is to radically flip the script. Do not save what is left after spending. Spend what is left after saving. For 2026, this must be your ironclad, non-negotiable rule. Before you pay anyone else, you must pay your future self. You need to determine a percentage of your income that is yours to keep forever. If you are really struggling and living on the edge, start small so you don't get discouraged and quit. Start with 5%. If you bring home $2,500 a month after taxes, 5% is $125. You must set up an automatic transfer with your bank. On the exact day your paycheck hits your account, that $125 is automatically, electronically moved to a separate savings account, preferably at a different bank so you don't see it every time you log in. Do not touch it. It does not exist for your daily life. It is not for pizza night. It is not for new tires. It is the seed corn for your future farm. Then, and only then, do you figure out how to live on the remaining 2,375 hours. You have to fit your life into the remainder. And you know what? You will. Humans are incredibly adaptable creatures. When that money is gone first, you will be forced to be more resourceful. You will be forced to make the hard value-based choices we talked about. You will find a way to make it work, because you have no other option. It will be uncomfortable at first. You will feel pinched. You might have to say no to things you want. But that pinch is the feeling of you finally taking control. It's the feeling of you prioritizing your long-term freedom over short-term gratification. It is the feeling of dignity returning. Now, let's bring all of these philosophies and habits together into a concrete step-by-step action plan for the new year. How do you implement the Buffett Frugality Protocol in your life in January 2026? Step 1. The Forensic Audit, Week 1 of January. Sit down with your bank statements and credit card bills from the last 3 months, October, November, and December. Get a red pen and a notebook. Go through every single line item. Categorize them. How much did you spend on housing, transportation, groceries, dining out, entertainment, random shopping? Circle every single expense that was not absolutely essential for your physical survival and your ability to earn an income. Be ruthless with yourself. Dining out is not essential. Streaming services are not essential. Hobbies that cost money are not essential. Add up all those non-essential numbers. The total will likely shock you. It might be $300, $500, or more. This number is your potential freedom fund. It is the money you are currently setting on fire every month. Seeing it in black and white is the wake-up call you need. Step 2. The Great Negotiation and Cancellation, Week 2 of January. Take your list of recurring monthly bills, car insurance, renters or home insurance, cell phone plan, internet, cable. Call every single provider. Tell them you are reviewing your budget and need to lower your bill, or you are considering switching to a competitor. You will be amazed at how often they have a retention offer. a discount, or a cheaper plan that they don't advertise. Aim to shave at least $50 to $100 a month off your fixed costs, just by asking. While you are at it, cancel every subscription you don't use at least weekly. Be brutal. You can always sign up again later if you truly miss it, but you probably won't. Step 3. The No Spend January Challenge. Weeks 3 and 4 of January. For the last 2 weeks of the month, or the whole month if you're brave, commit to a no-spend challenge on all non-essentials. This means you buy groceries to cook at home, you pay your basic bills, and you put gas in your car to get to work. That's it. No eating out, not even coffee. No buying clothes. No going to the movies. No buying items on Amazon. Instead of going out for entertainment, find free things to do. Have a game night at home with family. Go for a hike in a local park. Read books you borrowed from the library. This is a financial detox. It's designed to break your unconscious spending habits and to show you in a visceral way how little you actually need to be content and entertained. You will likely save hundreds of dollars in just 2 weeks, giving your new savings account a massive jumpstart. Step 4. Automate your new life. End of January. Based on your audit, your negotiations, and your no-spend challenge, you will have a clear picture of how much you can realistically save each month. Take that number, whether it's $100, $300, or $500, and set up that automatic transfer for your very next payday. Make it permanent. This is your new normal. Living frugally on a low salary is not easy. Anyone who says it is lying to you. It requires constant discipline. It requires saying no to yourself and others over and over again. It can feel lonely when everyone around you seems to be spending freely and living it up. But remember this. Most of those people you see spending freely are not rich. They are deep in debt. They are stressed. They are trading their future freedom for a fleeting present that leaves them empty. Warren Buffett didn't become the world's greatest investor by following the crowd. He became wealthy by thinking differently, by valuing patience and discipline over impulse and status, and by understanding that true freedom comes from needing less, not having more. Your salary does not define you. Your habits define you. Your discipline defines you. Your ability to find value and reject waste defines you. By adopting these frugal habits in 2026, you are not just saving a few dollars here and there. You are taking back control of your life. You are building a foundation of security and peace of mind that no boss, no economy, and no bill collector can take away from you. It's time to stop bleeding money. It's time to stop funding everyone else's lifestyle and start funding your own freedom. Let's make 2026 the year you finally keep the money you work so hard for. Welcome to the path of the wise.